An Irish Airman Foresees His Death is a poem with 16 lines. It was written by Irish poet William Butler Yeats. This poem belongs to the modern era. The poem discusses the role of Irish soldiers fighting for United Kingdom during a time when they were trying to establish independence for Ireland. In the first quatrain, Yeats shows the airman's ambiguous feeling about fighting in the war. The lines, "I know that I shall meet my fate somewhere among the clouds above," explains that the airman is sure that he will die in this adventure. This is a typical thought of an airman, because not only death is possible from his enemy contact but also the chances for mechanical error can multiply the dangers he faces. In the next two lines he speaks about emotions. He says that he has no strong emotions concerning either those who he is fighting against or those who he is fighting to protect. In the second quatrain, the poet introduces the country of the airman, which is Kiltartan, a reference to Ireland. In the following lines, the airman states about the fruitlessness of his participation in the war. These lines clarifies it. No likely end could bring them loss, or leave them happier than before. Here the airman tells that if he dies no one would gain any loss or profit. In the following quatrain, the airman tells what brought him as an airman. He says that no law, no duty, no public man, which is a reference to be a hero, or no cheering made him to fight. It is only the impulse of delight which he has made all alone has drove him to this fate in the clouds as an airman. The last quatrain of the poem states that the past and future time of the airman is wasted. These lines clearly explain that the years to come seemed waste of breath, a waste of breath the years behind. The airman says that the years to come, which is the future, and the years behind, which is the past, is wasted because he has spent all his time in the war and have not lived a family life like others. Finally, the airman reveals that for him life and death are balanced, and in choosing one he has chosen both. Yeats has used many techniques to capture the reader's mind. The poem is in first-person point of view, where it seems as the Irish airman is speaking. As the main technique, Yeats has used contrast between life and death. The poet has also used the side effects of war as a technique. He speaks about how can war influence a person's life. Then the mental trauma of soldier gets through war. These lines are good examples for it. No likely end could bring them loss, or leave them happier than before. The years to come seemed waste of breath, a waste of breath the years behind. Anaphora such as those, my, and nor are used in this poem. The poet has used the technique flashback and flash forward to explain the effects of war. Moreover, the title of the poem is not suggestive. The rhyming pattern of the poem is above, for example, fate, hate, above, love, cross, loss, poor, before, fight, delight, crowds, clouds, mind, behind, and breath, death. The poet has made the poem very interesting by using these techniques. Even though this is a war poem, it's not based on action but reflection. Therefore, the major theme is related to the feelings of an Irish airman when he is facing death. He doesn't fear death. He guesses that his death would be at air, as he is an airman. The soldier has balanced attitude on life and death. He understands the reality of life. So he is neither negative nor positive but balanced personality. He doesn't try to beat his fate but accepts it. This poem carries the characteristic of the modern era. For example, individual ideas were more prioritized more than the society. In this poem, the individual idea, that balanced attitude on life and death, is highlighted. This is short poem which makes one to have a balanced attitude on life and death. The poem is very interesting and enjoyable. It reveals the reality of life. Like and subscribe for more videos.